When World War II erupted, it didn't take long for soldiers to realize that the battlefield punished equipment just as hard as it punished men. Vehicles broke down in mud-choked roads, rifles jammed from dust, and tents ripped open in the freezing wind. Supplies were precious, and replacement tools were often thousands of miles away. What kept the war machines running and the men moving wasn't always a new shipment from the rear. It was ingenuity, grit, and one remarkable field repair method that could fix nearly anything with what soldiers already had on hand. It was so effective that it still inspires modern survivalists, mechanics, and campers today. So, stay with me for the next few minutes, because we're going to dig into the wartime repair trick that earned a permanent place in both history and practical use. This wasn't just a clever fix, it was a philosophy of resilience. When everything else failed, this method gave soldiers the power to repair, rebuild, and keep moving. During the height of the war, field engineers and soldiers couldn't afford to wait for spare parts. A broken weapon or disabled vehicle could mean being stranded or defenseless. That urgency forced innovation. The solution came in the form of a lightweight, pliable metal compound known as field putty, though soldiers gave it their own names: repair paste, emergency weld, and even battlefield glue. It was made from a mix of aluminum powder, resin, and a hardening agent that reacted chemically when kneaded together. In its early form, the substance came in a wax-wrapped stick that could be cut, softened by hand, and moulded into cracks, holes, or joints. Within minutes, it hardened into a metal-like seal capable of withstanding extreme heat, pressure, and vibration. Soldiers used it to patch radiators, repair firearm stocks, seal leaks in gas cans, and even mend aircraft fuselages. It was the kind of solution that could be packed into a pocket, yet perform miracles on the front lines. The idea was simple: replace an entire workshop's worth of welding and riveting equipment with something a soldier could use in the mud, under fire, and in freezing temperatures. What made this technique revolutionary was how it bonded materials at a molecular level. When soldiers kneaded the putty, they activated the catalyst that caused the resin to polymerize. As it set, it didn't just harden around the surface, it chemically adhered to it. This was known as a cold weld, meaning no heat or flame was required. That made it invaluable in the field, where open flames could attract enemy fire or cause fuel explosions. In modern terms, this material would later evolve into what we know today as epoxy repair sticks, JB Weld, or even modern aluminum-based repair putties. But during the Second World War, it was a classified innovation developed for the United States Army Corps of Engineers and later adapted by British and German forces alike. Each side recognized the same truth. Durability wasn't just about manufacturing better machines, it was about making sure those machines could be fixed anywhere, anytime. A famous example of this came during the North African campaign, where tank crews used the putty to reseal radiator leaks in the desert heat. In sub-zero conditions of the Ardennes, it was used to patch ruptured fuel lines when metal contracted from cold. No welding torch, no replacement parts, just a few ounces of chemical ingenuity. The remarkable thing about this wartime innovation is that it didn't disappear with peace. Its descendants are everywhere, from mechanics sealing exhaust leaks to campers fixing stoves and survivalists patching broken tools. The underlying principle hasn't changed. A two-part material that fuses into a rock-solid, weather-resistant bond capable of replacing metal, wood, or plastic. For modern use, this old repair wisdom translates directly into practical survival applications. Imagine you're out camping or off-grid, and your cookware handle snaps, or perhaps a hole forms in your water container. You can apply a modern equivalent of this field compound to seal it in minutes. Simply mix the epoxy by hand, apply it firmly to the damaged area, smooth it out, and give it about 10 minutes to set. Once hardened, it becomes strong enough to drill, file, or even paint over. If you want to replicate the old field version using available materials, you can mix fine aluminum powder, which is sold in hardware stores, with a resin base. Then use a small amount of hardener to trigger the reaction. The result isn't as clean as commercial products, but it's a reliable backup, just like the soldiers used when they had nothing else. This trick is also invaluable for anyone maintaining older tools or vehicles. If you have an antique piece of equipment with a cracked handle, stripped thread, or a worn-down joint, this bonding method can give it a second life. It's not about convenience, it's about resilience. And that's exactly what soldiers on the front lines learned the hard way. More than just a material, this repair method symbolized the wartime spirit. Adapt, overcome, and, well, keep moving. Soldiers learned that you didn't need a full machine shop to stay operational. You just needed to understand the materials you had and how they behaved under stress. That's a lesson every modern survivalist and craftsman should, really take to heart. This mindset was the foundation of what we now call, fieldcraft, the ability to improvise with what's available. You can still apply that today. Whether you're maintaining gear, living off-grid, or prepping for emergencies, having a small stick of epoxy repair compound in your kit gives you the same capability soldiers had in World War II. It can patch, seal, and rebuild nearly anything without the need for power tools or replacement parts. It's also an ideal skill to teach or practice. Try taking an old metal cup, puncture a hole in it, and then repair it using epoxy putty or an aluminum resin mix. You'll get a real sense of how powerful this field repair method truly is. It's one thing to read about history. It's another to put it to work with your own hands. The next time you fix something in your workshop, car, or camping gear, remember that the roots of that repair method might trace back to a muddy trench or a frozen airstrip in World War II. Those soldiers weren't just fighting a war. They were building a legacy of problem-solving that still benefits us today. The field repair compound was born out of necessity, but has endured because it works. It reminds us that true preparedness isn't about owning every tool. It's about knowing how to replace them with knowledge and resourcefulness. Whether you're deep in the woods, maintaining old gear, or facing modern supply shortages, this World War II repair method proves that innovation doesn't need luxury. It just needs determination. If this deep dive into forgotten fieldcraft taught you something valuable, make sure to subscribe to Backyard Wisdom and share this video with a fellow history buff or survival enthusiast. These are the lessons worth preserving. the kind that turn hardship into ingenuity and keep the old ways alive for those who still believe in hands-on resilience.